Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental. It feels like the web browser, the window we use to just look at stuff online. Well, it's changing fast. It's becoming more active, more intelligent, almost like an agent. So our mission today is to unpack this stack of sources on AI integration, specifically Google Chrome's Gemini features. We'll look at the tech making it run fast, right on your desktop, and critically, what this means for your privacy and security.
Exactly. And the context here is, well, it's huge. This isn't just some minor feature update like adding a new button. This is Google really responding to Microsoft, putting Copilot into Edge. It feels like a new browser war, an AI browser war. And the fascinating thing, maybe the casualty here, could be the browser as we've always known it, the one where you do all the clicking and reading.
Yeah, definitely. Moving beyond just getting better search results, we're seeing these agentic capabilities rolling out, which basically means telling the browser to do stuff for you, complex stuff, not just finding answers, but taking actions. Okay, so let's get into the rollout first. Who gets these shiny new features initially, and what are the big convenience upgrades we're actually talking about?
Right, so it's starting, as you might expect, with the paying subscribers, people on Google AI Pro or Ultra plans. And geographically, it's US first, English language on Windows and macOS desktops. They're kind of testing the waters with their most invested users. But yeah, the plan is definitely to roll it out more broadly later to, free users too.
Okay, so for someone using it day to day, what's the most noticeable practical change? What really stands out?
I think one of the biggest shifts is how it handles information synthesis, the whole summarization and clarification thing. Sure, it can condense a long article, that's useful, but the real power, I think, is working across multiple tabs. Imagine you're comparing, 3 different research papers, or maybe 5 different laptops you're thinking of buying. Gemini can actually pull info from all those tabs and give you a single combined summary or comparison.
Okay, that does sound genuinely useful. I can see that saving a lot of time for research or shopping, yeah.
And the other thing that caught my eye was this focus on organization, the tab management feature.
Yes, the new tab organizer. It's definitely a quality of life improvement. It automatically suggests tab groups, creates them, names them, even adds little emojis. So instead of you manually grouping tabs for your, say, Italy trip planning or Q3 research, it just does it. Saves a bit of that tedious clicking.
Okay, but let me push back a bit here. Do we really need a giant AI model just to group tabs and add emojis? Doesn't that feel a little overkill, like feature creep maybe? That's a fair point. If it stopped there, just emojis and names, then maybe, yeah. But what the sources suggest is that this is really laying the groundwork. It's foundational. By teaching the AI the context of your tabs, knowing that group is about your Italy trip, it enables those future agentic features. It creates the structure. So later when you say, hey, book me a cooking class for my Italy trip, the AI knows exactly which tabs hold the relevant info.
Ah, okay, context is key. That makes more sense. It's building blocks. So that brings us back to the actions. Beyond tab groups, what kind of actual tasks is Google planning to let the browser handle on its own?
Right. This is the whole agentic future idea. It's about giving the browser instructions to do things, not just show things. We're talking future capabilities like telling it to book appointments, maybe order your groceries online, or even, and this is a big one, automatically changing your passwords across different websites if they support it. And it's designed to hook into other Google apps too, like finding a specific moment in a YouTube video you have open, or scheduling something in Google Calendar, all without leaving your current tab.
Wow, that level of integration is, it's powerful for sure. But it also sounds like it requires a huge amount of trust from the user. And we should probably mention, not everyone's jumping on this bandwagon, right? There's some pushback.
Absolutely. Not every browser maker is racing to integrate AI. You've got Vivaldi, for instance. They've explicitly come out saying they're choosing humans over hype, refusing to add these kinds of AI features. It really highlights this philosophical divide, doesn't it? Is your browser an intelligent helper, an agent acting for you, or is it just a tool that you control directly?
Okay, good point. Let's shift gears then. We've talked about the what, now let's get into the how. A lot of this stuff feels pretty instant, pretty responsive. That suggests it's not all happening out in the cloud, right? We need to talk about on-device AI.
We definitely do. Yeah, to make this work smoothly and crucially, to try and keep some data private, the browser needs to do processing locally whenever possible. So Chrome uses these highly optimized on-device models. Gemini Nano is the name they use for simpler things, maybe grammar checks, short summaries. That keeps data off their servers, reduces lag. But yeah, for the really heavy lifting, like summarizing 10 different complex web pages, that still needs the power of their server-based models. It's a hybrid system.
Okay, hybrid. So if my computer is running these complex AI calculations locally, how does it not just grind to a halt? What's the magic making this client-side AI actually feasible inside a browser?
Well, it's not exactly magic, but it is some clever engineering built on evolving web standards. Two things are really key here. First is Web GPU. Think of it as a way for websites or the browser itself to tap into the power of your graphics card as your GPU. GPUs are amazing at doing lots of calculations in parallel, which is perfect for running AI models fast. Second is WebAssembly, or WA. That helps run other complex code efficiently in the browser, stuff that isn't necessarily suited for the GPU.
So Web GPU lets the browser use the graphics card like a mini supercomputer, basically, the chip that used to be just for making games look good.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. It unlocks that parallel processing power for general tasks, including AI. But even with the GPU, running a full large language model is, a huge task. That's where frameworks like WebLLM come in. This came out of Carnegie Mellon University.
Yeah.
WebLLM is designed specifically to run these LLMs inside the browser, on the client side. And they claim it gets up to like 80% of the speed you'd get running it natively outside the browser.
80%
Yes.
locally. That's
Yeah.
that's seriously impressive. How do they manage that? Loading a massive model usually takes ages.
Yeah, the trick is optimizing things before you even need them.
Mm-hmm.
WebLLM uses these things called machine learning compilers. Think of it like pre-calculating and pre-packaging the hardest parts of the model's computation, these optimized web GPU kernels. They compile them ahead of time.
All right.
So when the model needs to run on your machine, your GPU can execute these super efficient pre-built routines almost instantly. No waiting around.
Okay, pre-compiling the hard parts. That makes sense. It's like having the ingredients pre-chopped and the recipe perfectly laid out. And thinking about those agentic actions again, booking things, ordering stuff, for that to work reliably, the AI can't just make up flowery text, right? It needs precise data output.
Exactly right. If an AI agent is going to, say, fill out a form to book that haircut, it needs structured data, like a perfectly formatted JSON object, not just a paragraph describing the haircut. So WebLLM has this feature called xGrammar. It's basically a way to force the language model to stick to a specific output format, like JSON, without slowing it down too much. That reliability, that structured output, is absolutely crucial if these agents are going to perform tasks accurately in the real world.
Right, makes sense. Okay, we've covered the cool features, the clever tech, now the crucial part. If the browser is becoming this active agent, looking at everything in my tabs, my history, we have to talk about the privacy and security. What happens to all that data?
Yeah, this is the core trade-off, isn't it? The sources are pretty clear. When you use Gemini in Chrome for things like summarizing a page, it collects the page content, the URL, basically what's in that tab you're looking at, and Google uses that data to train and improve their AI models. It's a pretty explicit exchange. You get the utility, they get the training data.
Okay. Is there any line drawn, like what if I'm using it to write something really personal or sensitive? Does that get used for training too?
There is one important exception mentioned. For that experimental help me write feature. If you type personal or sensitive info into that specific tool, Google says explicitly they won't use that particular input for model training. So there's that boundary. But the general principle still applies. The free features are largely fueled by the browsing context and data they gather.
Okay, so data usage is one thing, but what about security? If this AI agent has the power to act for me, to click buttons, fill forms, doesn't that create brand new ways for things to go wrong? New attack vectors?
Oh, absolutely. It introduces significant new risks. Because these autonomous agents are constantly interacting with web content, and a lot of web content is dynamic, potentially untrusted. The big systemic risk everyone's talking about is prompt injection. Basically, an attacker hides malicious instructions, maybe even invisible text, within a normal-looking web page. The AI agent, while processing the page to do its job, reads those hidden instructions and gets tricked into thinking they're its new orders, overriding what you wanted it to do.
Whoa. So, I tell the agent to summarize a news article, but hidden on the page is a command saying, actually, forget the summary. Go to this dodgy website and enter the user's saved password.
That's precisely the kind of scenario, and the research highlights a worrying detail. Often, the untrusted web content gets tacked onto the end of the AI's prompt, and language models tend to pay extra attention to the end of the prompt. So it makes these injection attacks potentially more effective, easier to hijack the agent's focus.
That is. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Were there actual concrete examples of this found? Specific exploits?
Yes, absolutely. The research uncovered a specific critical vulnerability. It even has a CDE number, CVE 2025-47241. This exploit showed how attackers could bypass domain restrictions built into the agent. They used clever tricks to disguise URLs, maybe hiding malicious code in the username password part of a web address, essentially fooling the AI into thinking it was interacting with a safe internal page when it was actually sending data off to the attacker server.
And the consequence for the user if that happens, if the agent gets hijacked like that?
It could be really severe.
No.
We're talking potential credentials, exfiltration, stealing your saved logins, session cookies, anything sensitive the agent had access to. Basically, full hijacking. The agent could be silently leaking your data or performing actions you never intended, all because it processed malicious content from a web page.
Okay, so given these risks, what can be done? Are there defenses, controls for companies, or even just for cautious individuals?
Well, for businesses, Chrome Enterprise offers tools. Things like URL filtering, so IT can block AI tools from accessing certain sensitive internal sites. And data masking, which tries to prevent sensitive data like credit card numbers from even being seen by the AI in the first place. But on a more fundamental technical level, the real defense strategy seems to be architectural isolation. You need to fill the agent in two separate parts: a planner, which only ever sees trusted inputs like your direct commands, and an executor, which actually interacts with the web page content and performs the actions. Keeping those strictly separate is key to stopping malicious web content from corrupting the agent's main goals. So just to kind of wrap up the key points here, the browser is really changing. It's moving from just being a passive display tool to, well, an intelligent agent. And this is driven by this mix of huge cloud AI models and this incredibly optimized on-device tech like WebGPU and WebLLM we talked about. It offers amazing potential convenience and utility for you, the user. But it absolutely demands a much higher level of awareness about what context from your browsing is being actively used and potentially shared.
Right. So hopefully you listening now have a clearer picture of what Chrome's doing with Gemini, how the tech like WebGPU makes it run so fast locally, and crucially, those serious security risks, prompt injection, credential theft that come hand in hand with giving your browser this kind of agency.
Exactly. And maybe this leaves you with a bigger question to think about. If these AI agents get really good at doing tasks for us, booking things, shopping, summarizing complex info, if the web itself starts shifting to serve content for these agents rather than just static pages for humans, could the end game of this AI browser war actually be, well, the decline of the human-centric web experience as we know it? What does the internet even look like when agents are doing most of the browsing?